Dominique Thorne. I have seen all of the first three episodes of Ironheart. I love it. We have so much to discuss. How did this even come about? When did you even first hear about it?
I first heard about this in 2020. It was the pandemic. I go back to where my parents are staying in Delaware. And about a month after being there, I get a phone call from Nate Moore.
Oh, yeah. Mr.
And
Moore.
he lets me know that they want to bring the character of Ironheart to life, that they want to introduce her in Wakanda Forever, with that being the lead up to this television series, and asked if I would play her.
It is funny. I mean, so like a 5-year arc to this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, some things are worth waiting for. It's mind-blowing for me. It's a beautiful full circle. I got to tell you, and I'm so grateful. In the world of Ironheart, how does Riri Williams wind up in the situation that we find her at the beginning?
When we see her in Wakanda Forever, she is very much in her own world. She knows that this is probably not a place where she's gonna learn and grow and all of that by the traditional means. And so we see her like hustling these kids for their money, doing homework, all of that. And it's not until the Wakandans come along that she realizes her work, her tinkering has larger implications, like for folks beyond her. And I think it really took that entire journey for her to realize I can impact people, I can affect the world. Wild. And now she kind of has to reckon with that. Now she has been forced to go back home. And I think it almost always takes a going back home, I don't know, to really force the reflection that we might be running away from, you know?
I love that. And getting booted out of MIT and then saying, yeah, but not without my tech. And then for me, just watching, I see you blow out of the lobby. I think this may be the the premier character in the MCU that's from Chicago. And I go, oh my God, how is it taking this long?
Yeah.
And I love it. And it's such an important city. And it's so all over this series. These first episodes, well, the whole show wouldn't be what it is if you hadn't gone.
She didn't go seeking this hero mantle at all. She started pursuing it for very different reasons. You know, we see in the comics that she took the name because of how she lost her best friend and her father, like a gunshot wound to the heart. And that is where the need and the desire to kind of cloak herself, protect her community, you know, where all of that came from. And that to me is super familiar with Mr. Tony Stark over there wanting to cloak the world in a suit of armor. And her, like the focus is super, there's a nucleus there for her. It's her community, her home, it's Chicago. She's not really thinking beyond that. Now she's forced to.
I
Yeah.
love that too, because with his journey really starts when one of his own weapons explodes and he gets a piece of shrapnel lodged in his heart. And now this iteration where the heart is something that is not only going home, but also this whole thing of disparity and inequity, and knowing that she can only do as much as she can do. I don't want to give away too much, but they really are twin flames.
Yeah.
And it's really fun watching in episode one, which, by the way, must have been a bear to shoot because you have to completely introduce the character. You have to quickly get through her story of how she winds up back home. And then you're introducing all these characters and your mom, Ronnie, Angie White, who's fantastic.
Baby, get in here.
And I see you have this little kind of like coven of support. And then Xavier.
Here again?
Good morning to you too.
Is that Matthew Elam?
Yeah.
He's awesome. And then, of course, you are haunted and helped
Right.
by Natalie.
Natalie? Well, who the hell else would it be, bitch?
I just want to know a little bit about in episode one, like when you were doing that, were you going like, oh my God, because you run the whole gamut of an MCU film.
in 40 minutes. It's bananas. And it's really interesting too because it gets more
And more complicated, and it all happens really quick. I think of Riri Williams as kind of almost like a founder looking for a way to keep her enterprise afloat. And it's what she's done with the Ironheart suit.
Yeah.
It's what she's hoping to do and the support she has at home. It's Xavier's a bit of a conscience, and he just reminds you of where we are from and what our values are.
You know, when you're ready for the respect and the money you deserve,
Come work for me.
When the hood gives you a bit of an offer you can't refuse once you're recruited and get the business card, it's this really tough thing to play, which is like, wait a minute, am I going to go over to the slightly larcenous side so I can keep doing what I need to do to be the founder and the CEO of this? I honestly really, really bought it. And I almost feel like if you hadn't been booted out of MIT, the institution of, tech and learning and all that, I just think that's a really cool framing of it. But then so much more even happens just in the first episode. And you're in the HUD.
Vital signs indicate corporeal overload.
You're doing so much tech work, you're soldering, you're doing all the stuff. And again, it was just reminding me of all of those things that I had to do for the
Oh
first.
my gosh.
So you always have suits and pieces of practical suits around you.
Yes.
Did you ever have like a little spot welding lesson, or the person who's
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Oh my God, I gotta tell you, it took me probably like a solid 20 minutes to get that first take in the HUD down.
Trevor, stabilize the cabin pressure. I need some more air.
Okay, Ray.
I literally could not believe that I was doing this. I felt that to me was probably the moment of like, whoa, this is real. Like this is Iron Man. This is Tony Stark. This is the HUD. This is insane. And there's definitely BTS of it somewhere about me just losing my mind and laughing and trying to just get it together. Like, hey, this is real. Sure, I guess.
So much in this first episode sets up about anxiety.
This generation having to deal with anxiety of the information age.
And the way you set it up is just literally got a ton of heart. And I found myself very entertained by it and wondering what was going to happen next. And then we introduced Joe McGillicuddy, who you have a reason, and I won't go through all the machinations, but you kind of have him a little bit over a barrel.
If you don't work with me here, the FBI gets a call from a concerned neighbor. And you rot in federal prison.
And he brings you to this place where, in this silo where there's all this tech, winds up becoming very pertinent, because in episode 2, I call it the Shaka Khan tunnel heist freehand sequence, which is just great. By the way, the soundtrack and the music.
Chicago, come alive.
It's Chicago, but I also feel Nate Moore. I also feel Ryan. I feel the Black Panther energy in this. And then there's this huge cliffhanger at the end of episode 2.
Freeze!
What do you remember about that whole sequence? Because it's very daunting.
That was probably also one of the most fun scenes to shoot for the top half, because it is so high intensity and quick and fast. And this is like the first time Riri gets to just like flex what she's good at since getting kicked out and coming back to Chicago. And this is the first time she just gets to do without any of the noise. So it was fun, it was cool, and also just getting to see, okay, like, she's getting to know these people, she's sussing it out, and she's enjoying herself. Okay, maybe this is not so bad. It also feels like a nice breath of fresh air before the ride that we're in for the rest of the show.
But you kind of follow
your less than optimum instincts into doing business with this merry band of kind of misfit thieves that are also all really just deserve a great shout out.
And then by the end of episode 2, it starts to get a little bit serious, because there's an aggressive security guard who catches you after you've done this.
Just put the gun down.
Get down or I'll shoot!
And blood is drawn. And
Right.
really, what's interesting is that Ramos's character, the Hood, who can do all kinds of stuff, we're starting to wonder, who is this guy really? And he kind of saves your life.
You good?
Yeah, think?
You're a bit indebted. So what does that do to the conflict that Riri's feeling with where her loyalties are at that point? I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, from the time she meets this guy, it's like, okay, here's this incredibly charismatic man
Yeah.
from, a city that is familiar to me. He's coming from a place I know, I understand, and he's saying all of the things that I've been saying, that I've been thinking about for the past since the top of the show. Here this guy comes along saying, like, why don't you have this and why don't you have that? And don't you think that you deserve to be doing all of this?
I couldn't believe that after episode 2, that episode 3 actually gets more jazzy and out of control and hectic. And really, you're doing kind of almost little bit of like cat burglar spy work. I'm noticing in that whole sequence with what's going on up on top of that, where all the action's happening, and you're having to escape. And then, were you claustrophobic in that shaft that you were in when everything starts
Oh
closing?
my God, that was insane. But I honestly think I was more nervous doing the little underwater swimming up to the tunnel, flashing
Yes.
out. That was crazy. That was really what it was for me.
Episode 3 is like your Mission Impossible. There
Yeah.
is nothing in that episode that you're underwater, you're in tunnels, you're hiding, you're sneaking, you're trying to get information.
I think episode 3 might be my favorite episode.
Wow.
It says something very distinct about who Riri Williams and so Ironheart can become in the MCU. I
Right.
think when we meet her, when we're introduced to her, it feels very clear. Oh, this is going to be another superhero. But
Yeah.
then as we continue to get further and further into these episodes, we're like, wait, hold on. Is she like where is this going?
Even my boy Alden Ehrenreich is starting to reveal that he's kind of not who he's saying he is. And that's going to lead to something. So suffice it to say, for the first 3 episodes of a series with really introducing a character, I got the hook, I've got the heart, the support has come out of the woodwork with this ensemble cast around you.
Yes, it has. Angie White, my goodness, because
No
that's
joke.
so essential is for Riri Williams to have a solid home base. If Angie wasn't there, if the home wasn't as warm and artistic and thoughtful as it is, I don't know that we could endure all the chaos and all the spiraling that we see Riri going through.
Well, I mean, look, I thought we were going to have a quick little like 5 or 7
I know.
minute, and there's so much to talk about. So now, as these 3 episodes are going to be out and viewable, we're going to let that blow everyone's mind, and then we'll check back in later if you like, as we watch along some more.
Oh man, I gotta know what you think by the end. I have to. I have
Cool.
to.
All right. Well, you keep kicking ass out there. Again, well done so far. You've really done us proud.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Oh my
Cool.
goodness. I appreciate it.
All right, Dominique.
Talk soon.
Bye.
We can make something legit. Think about the possibilities.